Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Our next session is a panel with two omni-channel brands, Levain and Bandier, and Tomorrow Agency, who works with them on their e-commerce strategy. We'll be discussing how they've responded to the current environment. I'll be bringing on Lisa, Rachel, and Marco now, introduce them, and then we will kick it off. Lisa.
Hi.
Rachel. Marco. Oh yeah. Oh, nice. The swag.
Yeah, I'm wearing some words.
Good. Important. Awesome. So let me start by quickly introducing each of you, and then we can get into the questions. Well, first of all, thank you for being here. By way of introduction, Rachel Porges is the current CMO of Levain. She finds joy in helping guide this 25-year-old startup as it expands beyond its Manhattan home, leading brand marketing, store design, e-commerce, and new channel development. Levain, for those of you who don't know, was started in 1995 as a small bread shop on the Upper East Side. Nearly 25 years later, with its soon-to-be 8th retail location, it's lauded as the home of the world's best cookie, and it's a foodie institution, beloved by locals and tourists as part of the community. I'm particularly a fan of the peanut butter. My biggest problem with Levain cookies is I can't stop eating them.
You and everyone else.
Yeah.
But I'll take that problem. I think that's a pretty good problem to have.
Yeah, no, I'll eat like 3 or 4 at a pop. Lisa Donnelly is the director of e-commerce and digital marketing at Bandier, where she joined as employee number 3. Most recently, she's managed the company's rebrand and relaunch on a Shopify Plus in March 2020, and is leading their marketing and digital innovation in the new e-commerce first world. Bandier was founded in 2014 by Jennifer Bandier, and it is Bandier, right? Bandier, sorry. And it's a leading destination for women's active lifestyle, featuring over 40 new and established activewear, footwear, and accessory brands from around the world on its e-commerce flagship and 7 U.S. boutiques. Lastly, but not least, Marco Bon is an experienced founder and entrepreneur in digital commerce and is a co-founder of Tomorrow, an e-commerce agency focused on long-term client growth. In addition to Bandier and Levain, Tomorrow works with other amazing companies like Foot Locker, Bombas, Simply Gum, Type A, and more. Marco has extensive experience as VP of e-commerce at fashion retailers like Ralph Lauren, Brooks Brothers, sorry Marco, RIP, and has over 20 years of expertise building digital commerce experiences under his belt. So awesome, everybody. Thank you for being here. Maybe for everyone's benefit, could you 3 give us a better sense, each give us a better sense of both like who you are, but also the nature of your businesses, and all have e-commerce efforts, all have retail efforts, but give us a sense sort of the nature and mix of the business today. And then Marco, after their introductions, love to hear how Tomorrow works with each.
Great.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. So our business is historically pretty evenly split between retail and the online channel. So we have 7 stores across the US, and then our international e-commerce flagship. So, that's pre-COVID. Obviously, we closed most of our stores, in the past 4 or 5 months, but, are slowly starting to reopen with, I'll kind of probably talk about it, but a real kind of shift towards a digital mindset more.
Cool. Rachel?
Levain has been around, like you said before, for about 25 years, and has been doing what we fondly called mail order for a good 15 to 20 of them. Our business has been heavily slated, because it's a food business, towards the retail environment. And I'm loath to call us an omni-channel business. We're more pan-channel, so it's a very different user experience in each of the channels. We look at retail, it's in the moment, come in and grab a cookie, a 6-ounce cookie. I'm impressed you can eat 4 of them, but a 6-ounce cookie for that day or your Saturday morning errands. When you're doing e-commerce, it's not typically for you. You're buying for someone else from a gift standpoint. Delivery has a slightly different take. Sometimes it's in the immediate, sometimes it's for a meeting. And then as we develop new channels, it's with the idea of different need states at the hand as well. And so we look at our business like we're trying to satisfy a whole bunch of different delicious food cravings, not as one brand that is the same in all of your channels.
Awesome. And Marco?
Yeah, I mean, before I get into omnichannel, as an agency, we were founded by 3 e-com veterans from enterprise. Myself, each owning a particular discipline. Myself in UX and design, my partner Olivia in technology, and Joe in business and marketing. And Lord knows there doesn't need to be another agency. When we got together, we realized that the experiences that provided the most growth for our clients were ones in which we had long-term relationships, both myself from the brand side and them from the agency side. So that's the premise that we started Tomorrow with. So that means we hire people from designers to project managers to developers who enjoy getting to know the business of a brand, getting to know the strategies behind a brand so that we can make smart recommendations. And so we brought Lisa and Rachel here because they are kind of sterling examples of something we enjoy, and that is kind of partnering with them, being in regular meetings with them on a monthly, weekly basis, sometimes daily, to hear what they're up against and proffer our own recommendations and thoughts and working back and forth, because we believe that design and development of a website is just the beginning of the relationship. Traditional agency, that would be kind of the end, and then you just work into some maintenance. So your question was a little bit about omnichannel. From our side, we're very front end digital focused, but CRM and DMPs is obviously an omnichannel exercise, as well as POS systems, and we integrate all 3 on behalf of our clients.
Cool. Awesome. So we all know that things changed in March with the COVID pandemic. We've talked a little bit about what that means for e-commerce and what it means for customer behavior more broadly. I'd love to hear from Lisa and Rachel a little bit about what you saw with respect to customer behavior over the past few months. How has it changed?
I'll start this time. Our behavior is really interesting to watch. We didn't actually have to close our stores. As a food establishment, we're an essential business in the city. And what we saw was our local residents and people seeking a little sense of normalcy were pretty comfortable popping in for a bite to eat. Our menu changed a little bit. Our bread sales shot up. Our cookie sales stayed pretty high. Some of the more ancillary products we decided not to produce as often. E-commerce took off pretty aggressively for us, which was pretty exciting to see. I think it was people wanting to spread that little bit of joy. So pretty incredible to watch how many more people were purchasing online. And then delivery really took off. We had only been running delivery out of actually 1 or 2 of our bakeries, and we turned it on in all of our bakeries. And actually, even with the bakery we launched this past week, we opened Levain this past week. It's kind of crazy to be opening a brand new store in the midst of everything going on right now. We put delivery up right away there, and so that kicked off this week with Caviar. We saw consumer behavior switching to these online channels, but not replacing the behavior of picking up a cookie for yourself, but really finding new ways to spread joy and to share a little bite of something delicious with people. So it's been really interesting. I mean, obviously, foot traffic's down. There's fewer people in the city. Those things are realities we've had to deal with. But I think we've seen different need states rise up as opposed to change them.
Got it. And Lisa, you don't unfortunately sell food. Can you talk a little bit about the customer behavior you saw?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, obviously, unlike Rachel, we were forced to kind of close all 7 stores and in many ways, force our customers to shop online. Even those that, maybe had an aversion to it in the past or were just used to going to brick and mortar stores, wanted that instant gratification, whatever it may be. I think, our e-commerce business has done actually extremely well. So, we are very fortunate there and our warehouse stayed open. I think for us, being kind of a multi-brand athletic wear retailer, selling leggings, sweats, things that people are really kind of wearing at home, we found that our customers were kind of coming to our website with much more intent than they maybe were pre-COVID. There was kind of a real need to fill, a gap in their wardrobe where people may have had 2 pairs of sweatpants in the past, but now they were wearing them every day for 4 months. So it was less for the gym or kind of a weekend at home, but really, an outfit that people were wearing every day. So kind of a shift in the mindset coming to our site of, let me browse to, oh my God, I need something to wear every day.
Right. And that's a good thing.
Yeah, totally. So we were very fortunate in that we were in the right market.
And so when footfall drops, or when your stores have to close, noting that e-commerce is kind of growing because people are at home, what do businesses like yours do to proactively address this? So you can sit back and watch people come to your site, or you can look to do things differently than you were doing before. Can you talk a little bit about kind of how in March you said, okay, there's a change going on here, we need to reevaluate our strategy?
Yeah, for sure. A ton. I think, in the introduction, you mentioned that we moved to Shopify in March 2020. So, we literally moved 2 days before we, moved to home. So a ton of kind of opportunity on the new site, but also a scary time. I think I'd probably bucket it into kind of, 2 areas of kind of tactics we implemented. I think the first is really looking at kind of our promo and discount strategy. So one of the first things we noticed, and you all probably noticed in early March, was that, customers were increasingly price sensitive, conservative. There was a lot of uncertainty. So we kind of did, I guess a few things. The first is we switched to free shipping and returns, which, it was a bit ancient, but we weren't offering free shipping and returns. We had a $200 free shipping threshold. With stores closed, we wanted our process to be as seamless as possible. We wanted customers to not feel like, oh, I could have got this in store for free right away. And we really did see a pretty significant uptick in conversion from that, and kind of, have honestly kept it now as, really a marketing cost, I think, of doing business. The other thing we did from kind of a promo discount strategy is we pulled up our friends and family sale. It was supposed to be in April, and we pulled it up to the 3rd week of March. So really kind of, knew the future was uncertain, knew people had kind of that finite amount of money to maybe spend. And we really wanted to be kind of first to market and top of mind, in what was kind of a prime time for our category. So really kind of being sensitive to, what people are willing to pay versus, possibly what they were willing to pay in a pre-COVID economy.
Got it. And then Rachel, yeah, sorry.
No, just the other thing is kind of some innovation across sales channels. So we launched SMS is the one kind of big thing, I think. Launched it in late March as just a new way to kind of connect with our customer. During this time, people are home, they're responding, they want to have that engagement that, looks like it's coming from a friend. It's not promotional, it's more personal and more of a connection that they may have had in store. So those are some of the things that we did.
And that was really quickly done. I think 48 hours.
8 hours, yeah, from talking about text to turning it on. So,
wow, congrats. Do you think maybe before Rachel jumps in with her perspectives, just a quick follow up? Do you think the promo and discount strategy, is that part of a kind of a new normal, or are you beginning to see indications that pricing sensitivity is lessening as we slowly pull ourselves out of the hole that we found ourselves in March and April and May?
Time will tell down the road, but I have not really seen many signs of it yet. And I don't know that it's maybe less about price sensitivity in the economy now. It may be a result of all businesses in the market is so competitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we also have to be competitive. People have inventory that they maybe bought for stores that they maybe didn't sell when stores were closed, different distributions and wholesale. So we have found, over July 4th that the market is more competitive than ever in terms of the promotions they're offering.
Got it. Thank you. And then Rachel, you're as a pan channel business.
Mm-hmm.
How did you, and what did you kind of proactively do in March and April to respond to the current environment?
I mean, from a consumer facing standpoint, little, to be honest. We were lucky that we had planned for a certain amount of capacity with our website. We had replatformed to Shopify Plus last year, and so our site was in pretty good condition. We have a very lean assortment. We have a handful of products. There's a very, like I said before, sort of very specific usage behavior that people are coming to the site to send gifts. Our work was really more internal. We had to up our capacity to bake off and ship out that many a day. We were up significantly during that time, and so it became like a really challenging operational hurdle to cross, because we have to bake and ship with 2-day shipping to keep cookies fresh. We're not doing anything else. So we did little in terms of actual e-commerce marketing. We still don't. I mean, I don't think I've sent an e-class other than the store opening announcement. It's kind of funny on an e-commerce conference to be saying that out loud.
Right. What store are you opening, by the way?
We opened Williamsburg last week on July 1st, and we're actually opening one in Washington, D.C. in late August or early September, which is our first foray outside of New York. Kind of a big deal.
Heard it here first. That's like maybe the first time people.
It's public knowledge. There's big vinyls up on.
I thought this was an exclusive.
Yeah, there's big vinyls up on the street in Washington, in Georgetown. But yeah, I mean, I think for us, it was about building out the capacity to be able to do that. The only time we've seen volume like we did in March and April and early May was really around the holidays last year. So it became a big push for us. We learned a lot of lessons. We're actually rolling out new packaging and doing a number of things that'll help with that operation as we go forward. So we're sort of ready for the next phase of this. We know what to do to make it possible as volume goes up or down. And then we're even better ready for the holidays this coming year because of it.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about, to the extent you can disclose these things, like tactically what you did to respond to, the need for, significantly more capacity, like very quickly? Like how does one, scale up capacity, in a few days?
It's a matter of, I mean, you can create a second shift of people baking cookies. It's right. Quite simple, right? I mean, it's a matter of what time you turn on the ovens and what time you start baking off cookies and how long they stay cool. It sounds kind of silly to say that out loud, but that's what it was. And it was an interesting time because in the middle of all of the job losses and the situation with the hospitality business in New York, we were able to actually hire some people, which was very exciting. We were also able to move people from our bakeries into the e-commerce team, on a temporary basis to help out there. So it was really quick response by our ops team to get more body. I mean, it was a matter of more hands and more bodies because our world is entirely manual. You can't make a cookie without human hands. That's not what we do, at least for the company. And so it was about getting more people, more dough made, getting everything, into the right places. We produce all of our e-commerce right now out in the basement of one of our stores. And so it was a matter of getting all of that done. We're actually moving that next week to a bigger facility to help us so that as we grow, we could actually expand a little bit easier.
No cookie robots. No
cookie robots. I wish. I mean, it would make our world a lot more margin creative, but we do every cookie still to this day by hand, the same way Pam and Connie started it 25 years ago. Right. It is a thing to learn how to roll one of our cookies.
Yeah. You mentioned packaging.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what you learned, with respect to packaging?
I mean, this has been ongoing for the last year. I spent most of my holiday season as CMO of the company packing boxes in the basement of one of our bakeries, which is not exactly how I expected to spend my holiday season. It used to take somewhere between 16 and 20 touches to pack one of our boxes because of the amount of paper and tissue and cooling and ribbons and postcards and stuff that we put into the boxes. And actually last week we rolled out our new packing, which we've been working on since probably the holidays and probably before that. I'm looking at it sitting next to me. It's a shipper and box in one. We simply pack, roll the cookies the way we used to, but we've taken out a lot of waste and made it far more sustainable. And oh, by the way, a lot more efficient for us to pack. So it should take less time in the operation as we scale up. I mean, when you're quieter, everything takes a long time. It's just the way of the world. But as you scale up, the pace will be able to pick up around the holidays, and we'll be able to push product up a lot faster. And it protects the cookies, and it delivers. Aside from anything else, I mean, I think everything comes back to user experience. If you get home and it's a really cool unboxing experience at this point, and that's become such a thing in e-commerce to make sure it has that. I was always inspired by brands like Jenny's Ice Cream, which has a great unboxing experience. When you get that, it's fun to open, and that's what we were trying to achieve with this. I mean, our cookies are fun to eat, might as well make them fun to open.
Yep. And Marco, you work with a number of digitally first and omni-channel brands. Given what we've seen over the last, I guess, coming on 5 months now, what has this environment done to the kind of digital investment plans of the people you talk to? Are you seeing, I mean, I would assume people accelerate them, but then also, are they thinking in different ways about e-commerce than they did 4 months ago? Not only that we need to do more of it, but is there a different approach today than in, let's say, January?
Well, first, let me say that prior to COVID, this term digital transformation was bandied about a lot. I heard it in boardrooms, when I was at Theory and at other brands. And it was like this big esoteric term that had a lot to do with data. Like that was the big hurdle for you to be digitally transformative. It's like, understand your data, understand your customer. And I think a lot of people spent time talking. And then smaller companies like Bandier and Levain were out there like actually, migrating to a platform like Shopify Plus and, creating an environment for them to be able to react more quickly. So that's like the biggest joy for us on an agency side is also to be close to brands that are like in physical contact with the wheels of business and not these big, digital hurdles that I think a lot of people hid behind to stop making like important decisions. So, I think Rachel was able to focus on operations because she had a site that is able to kind of churn it out and respond. And that's not great thanks to us, but just to her thinking early and getting herself on a good platform. How have people changed recently? The second part of your question. I mean, I just see a lot more investment in opportunities on the website. And so we just have a lot more meetings about things that we can address that fill, various needs. Like for Rachel, we've innovated, I have to say, on mini cart. So this is a tiny little thing for most people in this audience, but little things that you do in a small space like mini cart, in which you can now add gift messaging, can have great results. I mean, we've seen tremendous, that's not a word. There's only one guy who used the term tremendous. But we've seen dramatic results in our improvements to mini cart. And Lisa asked for some franchising around some of her core product, which is again an innovation on her part, but something that she comes to us, be like, how can you make a product detail page talk about other products that there's like a mama product and then there's these like sub products. So, we're just seeing a lot more leaning in from our partners, and that's exciting on our end.
Yeah, I mean, to pick up something Marco said, I come from a big CPG background. I've worked at big companies, I've worked at small companies, and I think one of the challenges in my big company past, and I'm hoping it's changed since I've left it, is that ability to make faster decisions and to really follow your instincts and follow your gut and test and learn. The beauty of digital is that we're able to test and learn and be able to move quickly. By definition, in the channel, it's not like producing 6 months each ad and running it and having budget change and whatnot. We should be able to pick up and make decisions quicker. And I think good marketers and good brand stewards should be able to do that. I think that's hopefully what digital transformation will become. It'll be about not just trying to harness as much data and taking years and years and budgets of marketing and research expenditures to do it, but to go out and see when you make a change and know in your gut that it feels like the right thing to do. I think that's more of what I would hope.
Yep. And Rachel, you talked a little bit about the different, I guess, jobs that are served by e-commerce for Levain versus the bakery. You know, someone goes in to pick up a snack for themselves, but they online are typically buying a gift.
Yeah.
But I can also imagine, or I'm just picturing one of your bakeries, you know, the smell of being in a bakery is a lot different than being on a Shopify page, even if it's beautifully designed.
Yeah.
So how does one capture the essence of a brand like Levain, like online? Like what are things that one can do from a design or user experience perspective that, you know, mimic's not the right word because you don't want to mimic it, but just gives people a sense of kind of the brand, the kind of sense they get if they're walking in your bakery.
I mean, my personal opinion is you can't. And the more you try to use forced mechanisms to do so, you're just going to feel like you're telling, not showing. At the end of the day, an experiential brand is about showing, not telling. And I think that's really important to remember. So the two words are food and porn. You need food porn. That's the only way. I mean, Levain cookies, if you spend any time on our Instagram, it's food porn central. That's exactly what we're about. Even on our website, we spent lots of time getting the right cookie break photo. But I don't think you can ever replicate the smell. You know, I could probably go through, and I've had a million vendors pitch me on reviews and customer comments and all of that stuff. And we don't have it on our website. We'll never have it on our website. That's not who we are. We're not going to suddenly put up, you know, a bunch of Yelp reviews about the bakery. I don't think that's the same user experience. For us, it's much more about word of mouth and about driving our existing customer base to purchase for friends, or to find the person who's coming to New York because they purchased once and enabling them to see it. And so our next realm of digital transformation is about that. It's about how do we keep a customer who enters through one channel in our life cycle through the other parts of our business. I think we don't do any of that today. Our POS system does not integrate with our Shopify platform. It's an utter disaster. And so as I look forward for the next 6 or 9 or 12 months, that's the world I want to do. And we want to do it in a way that's very authentic to us and that isn't kind of like spamming people or, you know, geofencing them so they get pop-ups. Like that's not our world. But really making it possible for them to know that there are other channels for them to participate in. That's what we'll be focusing on for this.
Awesome. And then Lisa, I had a question for you about the Lululemon mirror combination, and you know what role you think you know, in-home equipment or hardware, however you describe that whole class of you know, products that are exploding with companies like Peloton and Tonal and Mirror. What role does that play, and what role can that play in how people discover and purchase you know, athletic wear? Clearly Lululemon thinks it should play some role, and so curious for your thoughts there.
I agree. I think Bandier has really always believed that fitness classes or, you know, fitness equipment are kind of part of our brand DNA. We're actually one of the first retailers to kind of open a true fitness studio in our retail stores back in 2015. And, you know, our roster of instructors were some of our biggest brand ambassadors and really still are today. And one thing I haven't touched on, but we actually rolled out Instagram Live to kind of replicate that every day beginning in COVID at 4 p.m. So we had a different roster of instructors there. So obviously kind of are, you know, totally of the belief that having the kind of content commerce video experience to showcase your products and have kind of the community behind it is huge. So, you know, definitely agree, you know, that kind of the opportunity for us to grow and kind of expand fitness in home and have some engagement with our brand outside of the actual commerce transactions is huge.
Right. Do you currently sell in studios and, you know, gyms like Equinox or Berries or?
We have a small wholesale business, but no, we generally do not. I mean, we're a multi-brand retailer, so we really carry 50 brands from, you know, a few of our own, but mostly from other people. But I do think the opportunity, you know, is starting to look into fitness streaming and how can we bring that kind of Studio B experience that we had in our retail stores into people's homes.
Awesome. Well, I think we're at the end of our time. I really appreciate all of you coming today. It's been a great conversation for me to learn about your businesses, and I think also, for the audience to hear about how you've, not just sort of, survived, but perhaps thrived despite all the uncertainty around us. So thank you all very much. And if people want to get in touch with you, we'll create the opportunity for them to do that. And then I look forward to seeing you all soon.
Great.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Take care.